Okay, here we go.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and a greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and encourage an open dialogue. Attendance at all Helping Parents Heal meetings is voluntary. All discussions that take place at affiliate-led meetings are confidential. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Zoom meetings run by Helping Parents Heal leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest speakers and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics, such as afterlife evidence and connecting with children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations what may benefit you personally.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Well, again, welcome everyone. And I'd like to introduce Mark Pitstick. Mark Pitstick, MA, DC, is an author, master's clinical psychologist, holistic chiropractic physician, frequent media guest, webinar workshop teacher. He directs the Soul Phone Foundation and founded Greater Reality Living Groups. His goal is to help you know and show, no matter what is going on around you, that this earthly experience is a totally safe, meaningful, and magnificent adventure amidst forever. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark, and thank you again, Mark, for being here.
My pleasure, Irene. It's a sacred honor. Well, welcome. It is an honor to work with you, and here's why. It's quite clear to me that most, if not all of you, are evolved souls who were brave enough to take on a really daunting challenge, what a lot of people consider to be the worst. And yet we know for a fact that that which does not kill me makes me stronger, or can. And when you go through something like this, it can make you better or bitter. And truly, some of the most amazing people I've met are bereaved parents who have worked through the pain and the suffering, sought to find the meaning, the blessings to it, and then apply that, share that with others, demonstrate it in their life. And it's truly miraculous to behold. So indeed, I'm honored. Here's the agenda for this evening. I'll share a brief overview of key points about this session. I'll answer any questions before we start. And then it'll be just a quick few-minute break so you can do a few things before we have the actual session. Then people will have a chance to share what they did or did not experience. And then finally, a Q&A at the end. Now, a disclaimer, if you have a history of significant mental illness, especially an acute condition, obtain permission from your doctor or therapist before using this technique. I have to say that, however, I've used it with thousands and thousands of patients. It's deep relaxation and guided imagery, so no one has reported any problem with it. All right, some key points. First of all, my outreaches, my life, my teachings are based on the great news. And the great news is listed at the beginning of all my articles at soulproof.com. There are 113 of them now, free articles. So it's a list of 11 things that we know are quite certainly true based on scientific evidence, as well as clinical and experiential evidence that is based on firsthand experience. Things like life does not end when the earthly body dies, that you can communicate with your loved ones now and definitely see them when you pass on. that we each are one with the one, part of source right now and always, and that things can occur in life in a meaningful way, even though it doesn't seem like it. So what I'll be teaching is based on those assumptions. And by the way, I am starting a course with IANDS, which is the International Association of Near-Death Studies. IANDS.org is their website. It's basically free. It's only $15 a class, but every class you get a free audio product, which is valued at $15. I've gotten a complimentary code because I've already had a couple parents contact me and say they'd love to attend this, but they can't afford it. And so I'll just tell you the code is know and show. So again, KNOW and show, SHOW. So you can go to IANDS.org, sign up. If you have any trouble getting that, just email me, mark@soulproof.com. And that'll be a 6-class course. The most powerful thing I can teach, I'm coming off a 6-month sabbatical, and this is what has arisen during dreams and odd moments while meditating, etc., and is forming the next part of my teaching, sharing this great news, how you can really know it and show it in every aspect of your life, no matter what you've gone through or what's happening to you now. All right, so the more you know that great news, how life is really set up, the big picture of life, the more you're able to deal with anything. And religious teachers across cultures tried to share this, but the messages sometimes got twisted around, and powerful rulers try to use it, to their own ends. But it's just basic stuff like, you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. And the kingdom within, the kingdom of a hand. In other words, we can be in heaven right now when we realize how life is, that we are one with the one, that no one really dies, that we each have special gifts to share. And when we share that, so when you know all that, the question is, how will you react when apparent tragedies occur? And I'm not being insensitive, and I don't diminish your pain, but I say apparent tragedies, because really, from a cosmic view of things, your quote child is really an eternal soul like you, may be much more evolved than you, thus didn't have the need for a long earthly experience. What's more, if indeed multi-location or parallel realities occur, and there's good evidence for it, then you and your child could be together right now in another slice of life, another time, space, dimension, watching you struggle and say, come on, mom, come on, dad, don't you remember we set this up? We had good reasons for doing it. So how will you react? Will you remember that, rise to the occasion, be a great hero or heroine? I recently watched the Lord of Rings through to prepare for the new series on Prime. And I was just blown away by Gimli, the dwarf, is in the final movie. So there's like 10,000 orcs and maybe 100 of the good guys, elves and humans and dwarves. So they're getting ready to fight. And Gimli says, overwhelming forces of darkness, certainty of death, what are we waiting for? He charges out with his axe. Well, that's the attitude that an awakened human has. It's like, bring it on. Native Americans knew this. They said, what could possibly go wrong? What could be bad? Every day is a walk in the woods with great spirit. So if you're new to HPH and you're recently bereaved, this may sound like crazy talk, but those of you who have heard it before and been around for a while, you get it. And again, that some of the most amazing parents are the affiliate leaders and the caring listeners and the board members. So you can do it too. So we're talking today, we're doing Ask Your Soul, G.O.D, which stands for the guiding, organizing, and designing presence and power. that created and sustains all life. So I don't use just the word God because that's pretty much Judeo-Christian. I know we have different religions here, but I do like the capital G.O.D, which reminds us that the God we're talking about, source energy, the light, is operating throughout the cosmos, which the cosmos is so vast that our universe is like a grain of sand compared to the cosmos. So it's clear from religious teachings and clinical research, like near-death experiences and life beyond life before life sessions, that seek and you shall find, ask and it shall be given unto you, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Those are just strongly repeated messages. So that's what we'll be doing tonight, asking yourself, the light, and your angels. And I say angels, but that also means guides and master teachers. So you're going to have a chance to ask, but from your deep inner self, getting past the brain. We're going to kind of quiet the brain here so you can access the 99.9% of reality that usually is intangible to the senses when the brain's constantly analyzing, thinking it understands everything. Now, your starting point, that is what you focus on tonight, will vary depending on how long it's been since your child has passed, how deeply you're grieving, and your support system, a number of other factors. So, for example, you might be focused on survival and trying not to choose suicide, or you may be working on not drinking too much or taking drugs to cope. Or you may be kind of at the other end of the spectrum where you're evaluating how you can find more silver linings and blessings and share them with others. So wherever you are, it's okay. Everybody started with day one. So just trust that what you most need to ask and learn will pop in, float up. Those are the two key words: pop in, float up, while your body and brain are deeply relaxed. Another key understanding about this is that you deserve to have and can have an awesome life. Now, that may be difficult for you to believe if you're recently bereaved or in deep, deep grief, especially if there was some sort of way that if you had done this, if you had hadn't done this, it might have turned out differently. Guilt, overwhelming guilt is one of the biggest challenges a lot of bereaved parents have. And so when a person has guilt, then they feel like, well, they don't deserve to be happy. They don't deserve to have a great life, but that is not true. And your angels, your guides, the light, and certainly your kids, if you can hear them right now, they'd be like, Mom, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm whole, I'm having an amazing experience. And I want you to have that too on earth. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be on a similar wavelength as your child and detect their presence more every day. So we'll do a standard induction, contracting, relaxing major muscle groups, deep breathing, me counting from 10 to 1, visualizing yourself going down steps. Now I say visualize, but I also mean use all of your senses. So when I tend to be more visually oriented, but whatever works for you. So for some people it's hearing, for some people knowing, feeling. So see, hear, feel, know yourself going down the steps, going across the stream. And these are all ways to quiet the brain so that your real self, your timeless self, your consciousness, your soul, that part of you that existed before human birth and continues after bodily death, can do some work, can answer some questions, can give you some guidance and assistance, along with your spiritual support team. Now, hopefully, most of you read the introductory pages I wrote up, I think about 4 pages or so on, sent to Elizabeth. And if you didn't, it'd be good to read that. You should have a copy of that in the email you got. read that before you use this technique again, because there's a lot of information. But one of the key points is that as we contract and relax major muscle groups, and eventually get to the face, it's important to, after you've clenched your jaw muscles, that you let your mouth part open slightly. So it'll look something like, because if, first of all, your videos are going to be blocked, so nobody's going to see you. And if, however, if you feel like a slack-jawed moron or something, and you're keeping your mouth shut, then that involves muscle contraction, which involves the brain some. So let your mouth part open slightly and just breathe. And also diaphragmatic breathing, which means when you breathe in, your belly bulges outwards some. Let that diaphragm drop down and the lungs inflate fully. And when you exhale, your belly pulls in and up, diaphragm up, easy exhalation. So we'll mention that at the beginning, diaphragmatic breathing. You can envision your angels, guides, the light, however you like. So you can see your angels as 12-foot high with flowing robes and long hair, or you can see them as multicolored light and colors. Matters not. The place we'll be working out of tonight is what people call the Hall of Truth. You may recognize it if you've not done this before, but it's a place where souls, whether you're living in the next stage of life or whether you're just visiting and you're on Earth right now most of the time, souls can visit to learn things, to remember, because really your true self knows all this we're talking about. It's more a matter of remembering rather than learning. Let's see, as with all my techniques, I recommend that you use it on a regular basis. So for example, this one, you may want to use it once a week for a month or so, and then every other week, and eventually once a month. And one of the, first of all, so that you can ask a lot of questions, you can make a new list, things you want to know, answers, guidance, assistance from your inner self and your heavenly support team, but also that you, these benefits generalize so that you get more used to hearing your inner guidance versus your brain. For me, everyone's a little different, but for me, when it's my inner wise self answering, the answers are really quick and the answer comes in before I even ask the question. They're very short, to the point, and clear. Whereas when it's my brain, it's more like, well, let's see, what is involuntary? It's a good old brain going through its computations like a computer. The experiences you have may seem subtle, fleeting, even imaginary, and that's because we're leaving the brain out of the equation for the most part. And so that's why it could feel imaginary, for example, but that doesn't mean it's not very real and very powerful. When we get to, we'll have 8 different experiences, like be aware of what you can do physically, mentally, spiritually. When we get to number 7, it will be input from your child. And the temptation will be to go into what we did a month or two ago, the facilitated after-death communication. In other words, I understand you want to visit with your child so much, but there's a video that's totally focused on that. And perhaps during the break, Irene can mention how you can find on the HPH website or YouTube. So I encourage you to stick with the session, do the Ask Your Soul with me here tonight to get benefit from that. Having said that, though, there will be a few-minute opportunity for your child to provide you with input, answer any questions you have. Almost done with the introduction. After the session, some people want to just really be quiet, kind of stay in that sacred space, or you can share what you experienced and ask questions. If you're going to drive soon afterwards or operate heavy machinery, make sure you are extra careful. Yeah, you never know. Some people say, I just had this Ask Your Soul session. I'm going to go out and work the backhoe for a while. Journaling is good. Keep a journal of information that comes up during dreams, spontaneous insights, especially the next week. That is, often people get more from this session than just occurs during the 35 minutes, 40 minutes of the session. So again, be aware of what comes in during dreams, pops up, and when you write all that down, you'll get a bigger picture of your answers. And if you like, you might want to share with trusted dear ones, family or friends who are respectful of this, because sharing and talking about it makes it more real than if you just keep it with them. All right, I'm going to give people an opportunity to ask any questions about the session itself in a moment, and then I'll ask you to just take a few minutes, make sure if you have to go to the bathroom, go, have a few sips of water, have some chapstick on so your lips don't get dry during this prolonged open mouth breathing. And if you cry easily, get emotional, you may want a few tissues with you. You want to have any electronics off, phone, pagers, etc. And make sure you have a quiet environment. Some people love their dogs and cats, but those could disturb you. You want to have no interruption so that your mind, your consciousness can expand and come to the fore instead of your brain always analyzing things. So if there's anyone else in your home, tell them you're going to be doing a deep meditation, ask them not to interrupt, put cats and dogs somewhere else or deal with them however is best. All right, with that, any questions and however you handle those?
Yeah, if you have any questions about the session this evening, please type them in the chat and we'll ask Mark. Mark, I put your website in the chat and I put the IANS information in the chat as well.
You are the complete moderator.
And Dr. Pitstick writes an article every month for the newsletter, and all of the newsletters are on the website. So you can go to the website to look at any of the past newsletters. Okay, so far, no questions.
Okay, doesn't look like it. And if you think of them, you can ask when you come back from your little break. So cover those 4 things: bathroom, water, tissues, chapstick. We'll get started in a few minutes.
Great.
Irene, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So right now I'm seeing myself as a stamp size with everybody else. Is that what they're seeing as well, or full screen?
So they would have to go in the upper right where it says view.
Okay.
And make it a speaker view if they'd like to just see you, and we can suggest that they do that.
Yeah. Well, with their eyes closed, it doesn't matter anyway. I just wondered.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you do that, you could change it and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And if I pinned you, then you would be full screen all the time.
Yeah, gallery versus speaker view.
Speaker. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Darla said that she sees you full screen. Everybody's good? You have any questions? I can unmute you and you can talk to Mark if you'd like before we get started. Wow, it is raining here. We have the remnants of the tropical storm, the hurricane. Woohoo! Lots of rain.
Woo-hoo. Where are you from originally?
New Jersey.
That's what I thought. I didn't know people in New Jersey said woo. All
Well, now that I'm in a woo-woo world, I say woo-hoo.
How long have you been in the Carolinas?
We moved a year after Corley passed. So in 2014, we moved. Great. Best thing we did.
Oh, that's a wonderful area.
Yeah.
There is a question in the chat right now from Cindy.
Okay. So Cindy said, just wondering about the pages that Mark mentioned we should have read beforehand. Elizabeth had pinned them to attach them to the Zoom link on Facebook, but I'll make sure that when she puts this up on YouTube, she'll attach it to the YouTube video.
Okay, yeah, and that just provides other introductory information. I used to try to cover all that, and it was just too much to try to cram into an hour and a half.
Okay. Everybody back?
All right, great. So, oh, wait a minute. Here's somebody that says I'm amazing. I want to read this one.
Oh.
Amazing, kind, and generous. I love this person. Yeah, and by the way, folks, we're while we're getting ready to get started, I try to pull some jokes once in a while like that. If we're going to operate heavy machinery soon after the session, because we really need to laugh. The French philosopher Pascal said, God is like a comedian playing to an audience that's too afraid to laugh. So that's really think about that one for a while. So I understand when you're in the midst of it, and if you're suffering with spiritual amnesia, it seems grim and it seems hopeless and horrible and chaotic and unfair. But it's kind of a cosmic joke that the more we awaken, we're part of God, and our loved ones couldn't be any closer if they tried. So, for example, in our I created a documentary called Soul Proof, and we interviewed different people that had near-death experiences and after-death communications. Some people had mediumistic abilities, and a spiritualist minister said, it's funny, I'll go to a funeral and everybody's standing around the coffin crying and wailing. And he said, and I'm standing over there by the wall talking to the guy. So that's that's it in a nutshell. When we can move past that sadness, when we can choose the next moment to choose gratitude for the time you had together, realize you'll see each other again, remember the big picture of life, remember they're not really dead. On average, we only use about 20% of our life force for our experience like being on Earth. So again, you two could be together right now. So the more you can focus on that, the more you can get through this in style. And having come through it, then you're this force that probably that was your goal for going through all this. Because let's face it, if life's easy, we just kind of, bump along through life, and next thing you know, oh, I'm dying of old age. I didn't get much done. But when you go through something like you folks are, it makes you reach down deep. And when you reach down deep and ask those important questions, that's when you remember who you are, why you're here, who walks beside you always. That's when you remember your special gifts, your giveaway. And when you share that, you have that peace and fulfillment, joy that so many people seek, but in all the wrong ways. All right, don't get me started. So let's begin. Let's have you sit up straight, please, and just go ahead and block your video so you don't have to worry about anyone seeing you. And you can be relaxed. So it's better to sit up then lie down, because it's such a deep relaxation that if you're lying down, there's a good chance you'll snooze off. And if there's anything I hate, is to hear people snoring when I give a presentation. So let's get comfortable, sitting up straight, hands on your lap or wherever they're comfortable, eyes closed, and focusing on my voice. Let's begin by alternately contracting, relaxing major muscle groups, starting with the feet and legs. Take a deep breath in and tense up those leg and feet muscles. Hold them tight. Hold that tension. And now, as you exhale, let those muscles relax. And now the muscles of the buttocks and thighs. Take a deep breath in and squeeze your buttocks together. Tense those muscles. Notice how unnatural that feels, and then how good it feels to let those muscles feel heavy, warm, and relaxed. Now the muscles of the stomach and low back. Take a deep breath in and tense those muscles as if someone were going to punch you in the stomach. Hold it, and exhale. Now the muscles of the chest and upper back. Take a deep breath in and tighten up those muscles. Notice how unpleasant that feels, and how good it feels when you exhale and relax, letting all those muscles feel heavy, warm, and deeply relaxed. Now the muscles of the upper traps and shoulders. Raise your shoulders up toward your ears. Hold them up, feel that tension, hold it, and let them drop heavy. Now the muscles of your hands and arms. Take a deep breath in and clench your fist, tensing the muscles in each arm. Hold that tension, hold it, and let it drop. Now the muscles of the face and jaw. Take a deep breath in and clench your teeth together. Feel those jaw muscles tense up and notice how unnatural that feels. And as you exhale, letting them go heavy. And as mentioned, letting your mouth part open slightly through the remainder of the session. Now the muscles around the eyes. Take a deep breath in and squeeze your eyes together as if someone is going to poke you in the eye. Hold it, and let those muscles relax. Next, the muscles of the forehead. Take a deep breath in and raise your eyebrows up toward your hairline. Squinch up those forehead muscles. Hold it, and let them go heavy. Good. Now take a moment for a mental survey, and if there are any areas of your body that seem to have residual tension, simply tense and relax those on your own, please. Good, you're doing great. Now continue to focus on my voice and use diaphragmatic breathing. And using all of your senses, picture, imagine, visualize yourself going down steps with my count from 10 to 1, stepping slowly and safely. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing before an ornately decorated door. And you know this door represents a gateway to an even deeper state of relaxation. Sense yourself opening the door now. It opens easily and passing through, and finding yourself on a path. Feel, hear, know yourself walking along this path, feeling so good, so peaceful, so relaxed. As you walk along, you can feel sunlight on your skin, a slight rustle of the breeze, hearing birds sing and smelling flowers. And as you continue walking, you hear, before you see it, a babbling brook, a shallow stream. And as you approach the stream, you feel the moistness of the air on your skin. Standing in front of a small bridge that passes from one side to the other, with my count from 10 to 1, see yourself slowly, safely stepping over the bridge. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Seeing before you now a veil, a white translucent veil that extends as high and as far from one side to the other as you can see. And you know, this is a portal, an entry to an even deeper state of relaxation. As you prepare for this, ask your soul, God, and angels session. With my count from 3 to 1, see yourself walking through an opening in the veil. 3, 2, 1. On the other side, and encountering a beautifully manicured lawn with huge trees and stately architecture in the background. Find yourself instantly transported in front of one of these buildings, what some call the Hall of Truth, in whatever color or shape the building pops up for you. Sense your team now, your angels, guides, master teachers, soulmates, your child, all there to greet you, to congratulate you, give you high fives, remind you how well you're doing. It's so tough to be on earth, and just hanging in there is quite an accomplishment. So take a moment just to soak up all that love, all that caring. Good. Now sense them sending you a healing shower, just what you need at this moment to give you energy, more hope, lessen your fear, drop your blocks to this working, whatever they can do to help you have a better session. Just feel that coming to you now in the form of love, energy, light. Great. And now with your team around you, sense yourself going into the auditorium, in this hall of truth, being seated in a special chair with a screen in front of it, speakers, kinesthetic detectors, everything you need to see, feel, hear, and know, answers, clues, cues to your questions that we're about to ask. As you get settled in, know that you'll have about 2 minutes of silence after each one of the questions. So yes, your child has changed worlds. but this session can help you heal and transform to levels that may not seem possible. After my count from 5 to 1, let answers to the following questions load up, pop in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First, physical. How can you improve your health and fine-tune the temple of your soul? Might that involve better self-care habits, such as exercise, rest, and what you eat? Let those answers just pop up now. Again, coming from your real self, creator, angels, guides, master teachers. What about your holistic healthcare team? What natural care approach can you add? For example, nutrition, acupuncture, counseling, chiropractic, and or having an integrative medical doctor who works with these more natural practitioners. Again, just let this knowledge float up. Good. Now consider the mental aspect of things. What can you do to upgrade your thoughts, to refine them, improve them? Would improving, for example, what you say be a good idea? For example, might you think more accurate thoughts about your child and how you can move forward? You could shift from thinking, my child is dead, to my child graduated from Earth School. You can catch a limiting thought such as, I will never be happy again, to, I'm going to make my child proud of me. Let input from your real self and team come in about that, the mental area. If you're suffering with, quote, mental symptoms, such as depression or anxiety, ask your real self and your team how you can begin to feel more joyful and calm. Good. Next, consider the emotional realm. How can you feel better? How can you release lower energy feelings that don't ideally serve you and others? That may be releasing old wounds and needless fears. So just let answers, assistance, guidance come in about how you can feel better. Remember what a magnificent person you are, and let that color every aspect of your life. You're doing great. Now let's look at relationships. The passing of a child can stress relationships or it can deepen them. How can you improve relationships with dear family and friends? And don't forget to include liking and loving yourself more. Good. We're halfway through the questions. So just take a few moments, breathe deeply, and feel gratitude, enthusiasm for this input from your higher self, angels, and all that is. And remember that you can use this technique as often as you want to access higher wisdom and guidance. Now let's look at the spiritual aspect of your life. How can you deepen your connection with your inner self and spiritual support team? How can you increase your knowledge that you and your child are integral, infinite, eternal, and beloved parts of Source? How can you better demonstrate this great news in your life? Not in spite of, but because of your child's transition. Now let's look at living on purpose, doing what you as a soul came here to do. Are you fulfilling the missions that you designed before this earthly experience? If so, how can you deepen those? And if not, how can you begin the process? If indeed the seemingly premature passing of your child was a pre-planned event, what were the goals for that? And how can you fulfill them? And now, time for input from your child. In addition to what you've covered so far, what else would your child like you to remember? See, hear, feel, and know their input to you right now. All things considered, what do they want you to remember and focus on? Few more moments for any input from your child. See, hear, feel, know him or her, reminding you. And finally, fill in the blank category. Consider any other ways you can heal and transform yourself for the better. What other questions would you like to ask at this time to gain input from your higher self and spiritual support team? Good. Just a few more minutes or moments for any final insights. And now it's time to prepare for coming back to the waking state, feeling peaceful, joyful, clear, enthusiastic, glimpsing more of the big picture of life, having some puzzle pieces put into place that helps you better understand that life and love are eternal. I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and with each number, let yourself slowly, gently come back to the waking state. 1, 2, 3, feeling the clothes on your body. 4, wiggling your toes and fingers a bit. And 5, when you're ready, opening your eyes. Okay, as you're pulling yourself together here, I know it's daylight savings time for some people, and so getting kind of late, maybe past your bedtime, what was a few nights ago. However, those who can and want to, this is a chance to do one of two things: ask questions, and then also to share what you did or didn't experience. Because if you didn't experience, much or anything, I have good solutions for you. So ask and share away, please.
Okay. Yeah, please put your responses in the chat. And Mark, if you want to speak to anyone, I can always call them on.
Yeah, I prefer to hear them versus somebody trying
Sure.
to fit in.
Okay. So I don't know if you could see, Cynthia is asking advice for what to do when you get stuck on one of the questions, too emotional.
Great question. And thank you for that first question. And the answer is to when you're doing this on your own. And after my answer, Irene will share how you can access this video. Then you can just put it on pause. You can pause. We come to that question, take some extra time and go over it. Also, you can, after I do the induction, after you're deeply relaxed, instead of me going through the same 8 questions, you can pause it and ask your own questions. Have a couple questions in mind, set an intention. So there's a couple ways to deal with that. And if it brings up a tough area, in other words, I would love to hear more about, what the content was that made you emotional. But that'd be a good time for the holistic breathing technique, which is also a session we've done with HPH that you can do online, and do that 40 minutes of deep, noisy, diaphragmatic breathing to release whatever that block or fear or deep pain is.
Okay. And Catherine is asking, oh, it's hopping. How do you clear physical pain that shows itself? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that of course depends on the cause of the physical pain. And that's why it's good to do basic self-care things like stretching and yoga, exercise, getting enough rest, but also why you want to have a holistic healthcare team, because depending on the cause of your pain, you may need some help with that. So again, we're talking about physical pain there.
Okay, I don't know if people want to speak. Janet, do you want to come on? Let me ask you to unmute and you can tell us. It sounds like you had a great experience. Hi, Janet. I've asked you to unmute so you could talk to
Hi.
Mark.
Sure,
Hi
I'm
there.
here. My camera's not working tonight, but it's okay. But
Okay.
that I actually had a wonderful experience. Got a lot of clarity, and it was nice to, I meditate all the time. Well, not all the time, but during some of this, my son came through, or it might have been my higher self telling me that I needed to make meditation a daily practice. That's how I can connect better, and that I didn't need a medium to connect with my son. I can do it myself. But he also came through and told me that he was very, very proud of me
Wow,
and to
nice,
keep shining.
nice.
Beautiful.
You can bet your kids are proud of you. Like I said, boy, it's not easy being on planet Earth. When I got certified 1998 with Brian Weiss, MD, to do past life regressions, he said that from his viewpoint, Earth is one of the most difficult places in the cosmos. But we come here for good reasons. The splendid opportunities for growing and serving. And if we can remember who we are and do what we came here to do in a place like Earth, it's a piece of cake otherwise. So yeah, you can bet your kids are very proud of you for hanging in there and making the most of it and seeking the silver linings.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Janet. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Cindy said in the chat, Mark, that she was very relaxed, but didn't sense any answers. And then someone else, Zelda, said, I felt the same way and I could not sense answers yet. But if you're feeling very relaxed to me, that's just wonderful. And if you're going to have a peaceful night's sleep, that's a big bonus.
Well, and also it could be the time of day. And like I say, it was 10:10 not so long ago on the eastern zone here. So what you might do is try this again earlier in the day when you've not been up so long, when you're more deeply rested, and see if answers come through. And then if you still have blocks, get relaxed, but you're not getting answers, then do something like that holistic breathing.
Very nice. Tiffany looked like she had a very nice experience, so I will ask her to unmute. Hi, Tiffany, do you want to share? It would be nice. Mark would like to hear your voice.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Good.
Hi. I had a great experience. At first it was difficult, but my guides told me to meditate and to just listen more. And my daughter, which is odd, I have a hard time seeing her as a child now. And when I connected with her in the meditation, that's all I could see. I might cry because it was very touching. And she was very whimsical, and she told me to play more and to embrace my inner child.
Good. And I'm curious, did some of her answers surprise you?
Yes, because I would never think that.
Good. Yeah, and it's that sort of thing. It doesn't prove, but it suggests that it's more than your imagination. Well, good. And to you and to everyone, just remember, this can become a regular check-in that you can do once a week or more often if you want. And then after a while, again, it generalizes and becomes the way you work instead of just letting your brain think it knows everything.
Beautiful. Yes, thank you, Mark. And Anna said it was peaceful. The peace alone is powerful, which is true. And this will go up on YouTube. Elizabeth will post it on YouTube. You can go on to Helping Parents Heal YouTube and see the other YouTube videos that Mark has done for Helping Parents Heal, including his holistic breathing and a couple of other techniques. I put the link to his website. We've got his articles in every newsletter. And we thank you, Mark. We'd love to have you come back whenever you can. It's always wonderful to see you.
Yeah, vice versa. Well, folks, I can't tell you how important this is to me, and I applaud each one of you. So keep at it. I can guarantee you that there's good ahead for you if you continue to persevere, look for those blessings. And again, remember all the free resources at soulproof.com, articles, radio shows, newsletters. And if there's any way I can help you, and you may think I've lost my mind, but email me, mark@soulproof.com, and I'm not going to write you a long letter, but I will briefly answer and say, read these articles, use this technique, and then check in 60 days. So I'm glad to help you out that way. That's one reason I create all these resources, so that I can give a very helpful answer very quickly.
Beautiful. Well, we ask everyone, please unmute and say good night and thank you to Mark. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
very much, Mark.
Good night.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kathy.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Good
Love you.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Wonderful.